Mark and Sandra entered the lively restaurant, anticipating a heartwarming reunion with their families over dinner. Upon spotting Paul and Lucy along with Lizzie, they assumed their partners would join shortly. As they joined the table, unaware of the impending revelation, they prepared for an evening of joy. Mark greeted the group cheerfully, while Sandra inquired about their absent partners. Paul explained they wanted time alone to share something important. Sandra guessed they had significant news. Lizzie added they wished to disclose something they discovered. Mark, sensing the seriousness, grew concerned. Lucy, seemingly nonchalant, mentioned pineapple fudge, leaving Sandra stunned. Struggling to comprehend, Sandra was speechless. Mark, puzzled, questioned the reference. Lizzie prompted Sandra to explain. Lucy sarcastically urged her mother to clarify the meaning. Sandra, taken aback, tried to gather her thoughts, wondering how they knew. Paul calmly revealed they found it in Sandra's diaries, accusing her of infidelity. Lucy expressed a mix of emotions, longing for sisterhood and acknowledging her bond with Lizzie. Her tone shifted sharply as she addressed Mark, expressing disdain at the revelation of their shared biological father. Her words hung heavy with betrayal and resentment towards Mark and Sandra, whose actions had fractured the foundation and trust of both families. Paul confronted Mark with frustration and disappointment, highlighting the inevitability of the truth surfacing in a world of DNA testing and ancestry exploration. Mark, defensive yet feeble in his attempt to reassure them, failed to acknowledge the profound impact of the revelation. Mark pleaded to keep the truth from Jim and Sarah, ignoring the damage already done to their family dynamic. Jim's unexpected arrival punctuated the tension, emphasizing the depth of the betrayal, echoed by Sarah's controlled rage and disappointment. Sarah's seething anger erupted as she confronted Sandra, expressing disbelief and fury at her actions. Mark, processing the truth, reacted with a mixture of disbelief and betrayal, while Lucy, bitter yet ironic, highlighted the hypocrisy in his reaction. Sandra, regaining composure, resolved to move forward, emphasizing the need to rebuild both families despite the turmoil. With determination, she proposed ending the affairs and focusing on healing and rebuilding trust, setting the direction for the group's future. Jim's eyes flashed with a mix of shock and seething anger as Sandra tried to justify her actions. His response dripped with bitterness, dismissing her attempt as moronic, his anger simmering beneath the surface. His hurt and betrayal poured out as he revealed the extent of Sandra's deceit over 2 decades, including a child she claimed was his. Sarah, with mocking sarcasm, recounted their recent weekend together, relishing the opportunity to taunt her husband. Lucy's playful interjection momentarily lightened the mood, though Sandra, consumed by confusion, missed the subtle change in her daughter's address. Jim, with a hint of triumph, clarified that they had never cheated as they had formally filed for divorce before their intimacy began. A tense silence fell as an unknown man approached, serving divorce papers to Sandra and Mark. Shocked and bewildered, the group sat in silence, grasping the gravity of the situation. Sandra's composure shattered as she pleaded with Jim, expressing her love and desperation to salvage their marriage. She turned to her children, urging them to intervene and prevent the family's destruction. Mark, visibly broken, struggled to find words, consumed by remorse and regret. In a silent show of solidarity, Jim, Sarah, Paul, Lucy, and Lizzie joined hands, affirming their commitment to each other amidst the chaos, offering strength for the uncertain future ahead. Jim's authoritative voice commanded attention, signaling Sandra to listen as he laid out the group's decision. Lizzie confirmed their unity, emphasizing the careful consideration each member had given to the situation. Paul, speaking with maturity, delegated the task of conveying their decision to Lucy, acknowledging her direct involvement and maturity. Despite her emotions, Lucy delivered a firm ultimatum to Mark and Sandra, severing ties with them both. Paul echoed her stance, followed by Lizzie, each expressing their resolve to cut off contact. Sarah addressed the practical aspect, informing Mark and Sandra to communicate through their shared lawyer. The weight of their decisions hung heavy in the air, reshaping their futures. Jim allowed the silence to sink in before addressing the next matter. He informed Mark and Sandra that their parents had been informed, emphasizing the importance of maintaining their relationships with their grandchildren's grandparents, despite the situation. His words carried a sense of care and consideration for their families. Jim maintained his firm tone, outlining the conditions for their parents' involvement. Their acceptance of the situation was crucial, as they were instructed not to relay messages or updates about the family. He emphasized that their relationship with Sandra and Mark shouldn't interfere with their family dynamics. He assured Mark about his parents' desire to bond with Lucy, noting their unwavering love for her despite the circumstances. The altered family dynamics would redefine relationships not only between parents and children but also between grandparents and grandchildren. Sarah's anger simmered as she addressed the situation, setting clear boundaries for future encounters. She advised Sandra and Mark to pretend they didn't know her to avoid potential confrontations, struggling to contain her frustration. Lizzie's tone shifted, revealing unexpected news. Dropping the familiar address, she addressed Sandra as Sandra, indicating a strained relationship. Despite this, she shared positive news, her upcoming marriage to Paul and the impending arrival of Sandra's first grandchild in 7 months. Though momentarily touched by the news, Sandra and Mark quickly realized the complexities it added to their already strained situation. Paul abandoned any pretense of positivity, expressing his frustration and determination bluntly. Despite the revelation of sharing a half-sister, he refused to let their parents' betrayal destroy their bond. Lizzie, vulnerable yet resolute, addressed the unexpected news of her impending motherhood, emphasizing their desire for stability and love amidst chaos. She highlighted the support received from Jim and Sarah, a beacon of hope amid turmoil. Paul asserted firm boundaries, declaring their absence from significant life events and denying them the privileges of grandparenthood. He acknowledged the burden now placed on Jim and Sarah, signaling a shift in their relationship by addressing Sarah as Mom for the first time. Despite the gravity of the situation, Sarah couldn't help but smile at the prospect of becoming a grandparent, a subtle acknowledgement of the newfound bond. Paul delivered a final blow to Mark, denying him the honor of walking Lizzie down the aisle. His words underscored the profound impact of Mark's actions on their familial bonds and the loss of a cherished moment. Jim's resolute voice addressed the inevitability of the changes becoming public knowledge. He asserted their innocence and refusal to conceal the reasons behind their fractured marriages from friends and acquaintances. Lucy's resentment surfaced, expressing her desire for others to understand her decision to cut ties with her mother. She firmly stated her wish for Sandra's absence at her upcoming graduation, aiming to maintain her reputation and dignity. Lizzie injected humor into the tense atmosphere, hinting at potential physical repercussions if their wishes were ignored. As the five stood in unison, Jim delivered a final message of defiance towards Sandra and Mark. He acknowledged his growing love for Sarah, refusing to let their betrayal break them. Jim expressed his commitment to a future filled with laughter and joy with Sarah, pledging their commitment before God and their children. With tears in her eyes, Sarah reciprocated Jim's feelings, and they left together, ready to forge a new path guided by love and determination, leaving Sandra and Mark to face the consequences of their actions. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Remember, you're writing a story too, and it's up to you whether it's a good one or not. Write your opinion in the comments.